morning, everybody. Thank you very much for attending this meeting. I want to check that everybody can hear me. Can somebody just say something so I know you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thanks very much. So this is the Standing Committee on Police Oversight, Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport. It is to deal with the adjustments budget that we are going to be discussing this week in Parliament. So I just want to welcome everybody here, remind everyone that this is being screened live on YouTube. It does have a public hearing component. So if there are people here from the general public who have logged in, they will be allowed to comment in due course. I think we'll start by introducing ourselves. So first the members will introduce themselves. And then the Minister, the HOD and the department, and then we can take it from there. So I am Benedicta van Minnen and I am the chair of the Standing Committee. Members?
Good morning, Chairperson, Honourable Members, Minister and the Department. My name is Wendy Kaiser-Philander and I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Member Boyson and I'm a member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bonita Stevens and I'm a member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Benson Mainswood, a member of this committee. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Johnson, permanent member of this committee.
And I think that is it. So Minister HOD, oh yes, we just got Member Kasim.
Greetings, Chairperson, and to all. Member Aisha Kasim is also present on the virtual online platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hand over to the Minister and the HOD for their introductions and the department.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Honourable Marie, and I hand over to the HOD. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson, members, and colleagues. I'm Milton Arendse, Acting Head of Department, Police Oversight and Community Safety, and I'll just guide the team to just introduce themselves. Amanda.
Good morning, Minister, Chair and members. My name is Amanda Dissel. I'm Acting Chief Director of Secretariat Safety and Security.
Burford.
Good morning, members. I'm Burford Noble, Deputy Director, Budget Management. I've also got Clarissa here with me. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So Clarissa is with you. Clarissa, can you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, HOD and members and Chairperson. I'm Clarissa Samuels from the Budget Office.
Thanks so much, Clarissa. Gillian.
Good morning, Gillian Lutz from the Chief Director of Security Risk Management. Good morning.
Umanas.
No, I don't think.
Okay, and then I'll go to Kim Seal of the.
Good morning, Chairperson, members, Minister, HOD, and colleagues. I'm Kim Seal from the Office of the Western Cape Police Ombudsman.
Thanks so much, Kim. General Reddy.
Good morning, honourable members and the members attending. I'm Oswald Reddy, the Police Ombudsman for the Western Cape.
Thanks so much, General. Chairperson, that's the representatives of the Department of Police Oversight and Community Safety. We do have Kurt that has just joined. He's the Media Liaison Officer of our Minister. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. That's greatly appreciated. Before we kick off with the questions and answers on the issue of the budget, which is from page 55 to page 70 of the Big Blue Book, I just want to check with the Minister and the HOD if you have any opening comments you'd please like to make.
Thank you. Can I give some opening remarks, please, Chair?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, in our PSP Provincial Strategic Plan of 2025-2030, we say that that our communities are increasingly burdened by rising violence intertwined with poverty, unemployment, social fragmentation, and inadequate mental health services, all of which undermine efforts to create safe and supportive environments. And the social and economic impact of violence and crime is profound, leading to the reduced investment, diminished trust, and heightened inequality. Addressing these challenges requires strategies to strengthen individual and community resilience, enabling them to navigate adversity and trauma, which is key to achieving long-term community stability and safety. And then without targeted interventions, trauma, particularly among children and youth, risk perpetuating cycles of violence and crime, and further deepening the inequality and constraining economic opportunities. And in our adjustment budget, the single most important adjustment for me, and I think for our department, I know for our department, is a 9 in our policing in program 3, provincial policing functions. 9 million became available to the department in support of the Mitchells Plain Safety and Development Program. So I know that HOD will elaborate more on the Mitchells Plain safety plan, but it's the Mitchells Plain Safety and Development Plan represents strengthening of collaboration between the Western Cape departments, City of Cape Town, SAPS, and the communities. And we realize that there are many programs rolled out in the community, but are working in silos. And this is a pilot project, and we will roll it out to other areas later, such as Nyanga, Philippi East, Guguletu, Delft, Kailicha, and Mupuleni. And I think that is all from my side. I just want to mention that. I think HOD, if you can elaborate on that, if you think it's necessary. Thank you so much.
Chairperson, if I may?
Please go ahead.
Sure, thanks. Chair, I'm not going to elaborate on that program immediately, Minister, because I allow the members to, or the chairperson to guide me. But just in terms of the additional items on the key items on our budget for this year, chairperson. So we've received a 17.1 million injection within the department, and it's dominated by 4 main items. Firstly, it's the 7.1 million that we've received for the move from our current premises, which is 35 Well Street to Lower Long Street. And that is because we were on a month-to-month in lease agreement with the owners of the building, but they have not been addressing the OHS issues within the department. Our lease is now expired, or we've been asked to move, so we'll be moving to Lower Long Street, and that's where we have the 7.1 million. The 9 million Minister covered recently, just in her opening remarks. But then we also have a 2.1 million rollover to upgrade our CCTV cameras that we have within the Western Cape government. And then there's 1.2 million that we're shifting to the Department of Premier in respect of systems development that will go to the Center for Innovation. Chairperson, then there's 2 more announcements that I need to make. Firstly, our CFO is unfortunately not well, so that's why, and he's not joining us today, so I just need to register his apology. And then one of the most important announcements is that it's our Minister's birthday today. So congratulations, Minister, on your birthday. Thanks, Chair.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I did indeed. I did not mention that. I think if we can, from the standing committee, please wish Minister Marais every happiness and everything that's good for next year. And yes, good luck and happy birthday. I think we can all stand behind that. I'm going to open for questions, but I just want, if you wouldn't mind, Minister HOD, if you could just quickly expand on the issue of the office and also the systems that are going to be installed in partnership with the Premier's department, so we can just get a bit of a heads up on that.
Sure, Chairperson. I'm going to ask Burford Noble to respond to that one. Burford.
Thank you, HOD. Thank you, Chair. Yes, in terms of the systems, it's the normal ICT systems that we have in conjunction with the Department of the Premier. So that's just to ensure that we have systems up and running that we people can contact the department. Yeah, is that the only one actually?
I think
Oh yes, and then the relocation in terms of the relocation
correct.
cost. That as actually as mentioned, we have to move from this building by the end of the month, and obviously there's a cost involved in setting up the new premises, and it's mainly basically in terms of furniture that's required for the staff. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you very much. I'm going to open up to questions. I just want people to know that we do have a time pressure that we need to be finished. I think it's 11 o'clock, 11:15. So we will have to limit questions. It's now 9:55. Let's start trying to round up by about 20 past, because we also want to give some time if there are members of the public here. So I am now looking for hands for people who please want to ask questions. Don't all rush. Okay, I have got one from Member Cassie. Thank you for starting us all off. Member, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mine is it's going to be very quick and very brief. It's on the move to the new premises. I just wanted to get clarity. Was there an option to stay at the current premises, or and then also what are the main reasons that you are moving to the new premises? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you for that. Next one is Member Mpoensu.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I must also wish the MEC a happy birthday. Or you want me to sing? And say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Why are you not following me, members? Okay. Chair, my first issue relates to, I've looked at the adjustments. I looked at the priorities. But for me, the adjustments, whilst I appreciate it, but they have no relationship with the rate of violent crime in Cape Town. And that violent crime in Cape Town has reached a crisis point. And it's for that reason that the ANC we submitted that it must be declared as a disaster. There's no relationship with that. For instance, whilst we note and appreciate the Mitchell's Plan project, if this department had an appreciation of the fact that indeed it's a disaster, I think 2 or more areas could have been covered. And why, MEC? That at least Philippi, Onyanga East, and Menenberg are not part of this program together with Mitchell's Plain, but not only one area, at least these 4 areas. Mitchell's Plain included Menenberg, Philippi. I'm not going to talk about the Clifford for now, but at least these 4 areas, you clustered them. If you look at their geographical area, that would make sense. Why wasn't that not considered? That's the first point. The second point, Chair, related to the rollovers. Related to the rollover. One is begging to understand the fundamental basis for this. It's begging to understand the fundamental basis for this. Okay, we're here. But kindly take us through on a fundamental basis, though, for this rollover, for this important instrument or method in the fight against crime, the installations of CCTV cameras. But again, as we clarify us, where are these cameras going to be located? Which are the areas? I know it appears for me that Kraaifontein is one of the neglected areas in respect to high tech, the use of high technology. Please spell out the areas of focus, and also given the fact that there have been challenges with existing cameras, how are these cameras going to be different from the existing ones? Who are the service providers, and how much each unit is going to cost? I know that the chairperson of the Standing Committee, Van Minen, accuses me of being a CCTV camera champion. Now, that breakdown, I think it will be important for this committee and for the public to know, and also their area of concern and the extent with which they will help a great deal in aiding successful investigation. And finally, in this first round, related to compensation of employees. You know, that we know that, I mean, and this seemed to be a concern that compensation of employees is less important. Can we therefore get clarity on the following as to how many funded posts, given this move around it, are affected by the reduction, and why the reduction on the administration program at 1 administration? Yet the police ombudsman faces a crisis of staff shortage in the system. We met with the police ombudsman recently, and where we stand, we believe that they must be resourced, they must be capacitated. What are your plans? Now, that's the area of interest which one at the moment would be interested to understand, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And then we have Donita Stevens as the last member in this round. Member Stevens?
Thank you, Chair. As to get to Member Benson's question regarding Kraaifontein, I know he said he's not going to speak about Kraaifontein now, but as the Premier was sitting in the papers a few days ago, that Kraaifontein is now the second most highest crime area in South Africa. What are we going to do about it? And how will the adjustments taken to this oversight in a high crime area like Kraaifontein? And what performance improvement does the department expect from the adjustment budget on page 57? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let me see if I can hand over to you in the HOD. If we can just deal with those three questions in this first round. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Before the HOD, I just want to mention that the cameras, most of them are provided by the city, and I did ask for a list, and I will provide the list of cameras and the working cameras specifically to the Standing Committee. Thank you. Thank you, HOD.
Thanks, Minister. Chairperson, I'll start with the questions pertaining to our move. So what are the options could we possibly have stayed here? Chairperson, this building is in such a nice location and it's got such beautiful views. Ideally, would have loved to stay in this building. However, we've been given no option by the landlords, so we need to move from this building to Lower Long Street, where the views are way not as good as what we have in the south. So definitely, we would have loved to stay here, but we weren't given an option to stay. And the reason for the stay is because, or for the move is because we were on a month-to-month lease and we couldn't conclude a long-term lease due to the fact that they have not addressed all of the occupational health and safety issues within the building. And we as a department, with the custodian and the main champions for occupational health and safety, we cannot conclude an agreement for our department to stay in a building with the occupational health and safety issues not being addressed, whilst we're telling other departments that they need to make sure that those are being addressed. So we're basically in the catch-22 situation. We could not really, or not catch-22, 4 situation where we had to move. As it relates to the areas that we've identified, Mitchells Plain is a pilot, and if you ask us why we started in Mitchells Plain, remember, you will recall that in early July, there was a spate of shootings in Mitchells Plain. I think 17 shootings, of which 7 or 8 people died over a period of 3 or 4 days, and that's when we stepped in and we started these engagements. So the idea with the Mitchells Plain Safety and Development Plan and the Growth and Development Program, or the Growth and Resilience Program that we have for the province, that is our pilot site. So we started with a range of engagements with the community in order to starting to formulate how do we develop a community level growth and resilience or safety and development program with the community. So co-creating that solution with the community. And we had a series of engagements to the extent that we now have a proper plan in place or a project plan in place. And we also have the funding that's been allocated, and we are meeting with the community now. Together with the community, we've identified the different projects that we're going to run, and we are meeting again to give feedback to them in terms of what's going to be the next step. So we're trying to have an integrated approach. The idea is to bring all the community structures together and work collectively towards the challenges. Your question is why not other areas? The other areas will most definitely be considered, but we'll be focusing on those LEAP areas. So it will be Philippi, Nanga, Gugulethu, Delft, and Khayelitsha. Those were the 5. But we're also aware of the fact that Mfuleni is becoming a big problem. So we might even bring Mfuleni earlier than any of the others, because Mfuleni is really becoming a challenging area for us. And when you look at the recent murder stats, they are the top in the country. So instead of going the normal route of saying that we're going to go into the LEAP areas, of which Mfuleni is not, we might have to parachute Mfuleni right in at the top and start a program with Mfuleni. So as it relates to the cameras, the cameras and the funding that we get for the rollover of the cameras is specifically for our internal Western Cape government cameras. We do not roll out cameras, as Minister indicated. We do not roll out cameras in the communities. That is the city of Cape Town, because they've got a response team. Our response team is limited to Western Cape government buildings and our surrounds in the building. So the money that you've seen in terms of the transfer is in relation to the cameras in and around our buildings within the precinct. And when you speak about the rationale for the budget, the fundamental basis for the rollover, fundamental basis is it's a capital project that started in the previous financial year. We have not concluded the procurement process, and that's why it's been rolled over, so that we can finalize it in this financial year, and it's a CapEx program. But as I said, it's not cameras for public or for outside for safety, for what we normally have for our response teams with SAPS or the city. It's for the internal process. And we can provide you with the information as it relates to the service provider. But as I said, that's an internal process. COE, it's not less important. In fact, we need more people. However, based on our ability to fill posts, we have some savings in that, and the HOD post is one of that. We have not been able to fill, and we affected savings. So please, I need to reiterate that filling of the post and the people is quite critical, and we're going to need more people going forward, and also more new skills. We need the harder skills such as project management, data sciences, and we also need some additional, some of the other sciences that some of the other skills within our department. So we will be focusing on getting more people on board. And as it relates to the Kraaifontein, which is one of the second most highest crime, Member Stevens, yes, we are looking at those areas. And as I said, we started with Mitchells Plain, but we need to look at what does the data tell us, and we will be best if we now roll out the Growth and Resilience Program. We work with the communities, and we have not finalized that. We're starting with Mitchells Plain is to prove the pilot and make sure that we understand what we'll be doing in those communities. And within the next month or two, we want to put forward a funding request to roll it out further. However, if we're going to have this program being sustainable over time, we need to grow it responsibly. We cannot say that we will roll it out to 20 areas at once, because the funding won't necessarily be available for 20 areas. It will be trial and error, but we'll move with the communities, empowering the communities and making sure that we start having a significant impact at community level. So we want to implement what we said in our provincial strategic plan and in our Western Cape safety plan, and now implement that at the community level. So that's where we're heading towards. So what performance improvements do we expect from the specific adjustments estimate? So in terms of the adjustments estimate, as I said, key is our move. The second one is performance improvement in the fact that we want to make a difference at a local level in communities. And then thirdly, it's obviously in our computer and our ICT space, and also our surveillance of our immediate areas within our precincts, so that we can improve the security of our staff and our officials, and also the citizens in and around our precincts. So those are the key things that we'd like to, that I do think. And do not know whether I've missed anything. I think I've covered all of those matters, Chairperson. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, the second round of questions. Let's have some hands. Got Member Ngwensu, Member Kasim. See if there's a third hand for anybody. And then we've got Member Stevens. So Member Ngwensu, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. The acting HOD did not really capture my question. I did not question as to why Mitchell's Plain is a priority. Nobody can dispute that Mitchell's Plain is a hotspot. The question I posed as to why in this project, starting something new, consider clustering hotspot given the geographical convenience, if I may use that word. Consider that. That is why I was saying, okay, for now, despite that, Kraaifontein is one of the violent crime-ridden areas. But given that that area of Mitchell's Plain and so on has been identified, therefore, if the department was indeed wise enough or appreciate the fact that crime in Cape Town has reached a crisis point, why attempts were not made to cluster Mitchell's Plain, Khayelitsha, Menenberg, Philippi, and maybe another part, that area, for this lodge? That's the first thing. The second one was deeply interested on, given this though, what are your plans for the areas such as Kraaifontein and Mfuleni, which for more than 3 occasions in terms of financial years have featured prominently in the top 30 of hotspots in the country, not in the Western Cape. So that is what I'm saying. You did not get my question properly. The second issue related to your response to CCTV camera. Now, you make a statement that there was a delayed document in respect to concluding it, but we are not told about the fundamental basis for that delay. And actually, who will be these suppliers of these CCTV cameras in this instance? And finally, on table 4.9.4, security risk management. Now, again, this has no appreciation of what we are dealing with. And that's the question. What is the justification, MEC, for reducing the security risk management budget at a time when violent crime is increasing? And additionally, what risk does this reduction pose for community safety and overall service delivery, especially in high-risk areas? Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you very much. Member Kasim.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think that the member just covered most of what I wanted to say in terms of specifically the pilot program in Mitchell's Plain, which is one of many drug and gang-infested communities, especially on the Cape Flats. So mine was also basically to get clarity on why areas like Khayelitsha and Kraaifontein, for example, could not be clustered in that program. And then also with the latest crime stats, Chairperson, that was released, we saw the top crime areas. So if the department is saying that there's still a focus on those areas, can we maybe get clarity or a breakdown of what is going to be done there. I'm seeing that the main focus here is on Mitchell's Plain, which I agree. There is a lot happening in Mitchell's Plain, but there's also other areas. Like I said, with the latest crime stats that was released, that needs attention as well. So can we get a breakdown as to what will be done there? If you're saying that there's still a focus to eradicate crime, especially in those drug and gang-infested communities on Cape Flats and across the province. And then also a lot is being spent on cameras as well. I just wanted to get clarity. When will cameras start going up in gang-infested communities? Is there any plan for cameras to be installed in those hotspot areas? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. And then Member Stevens. Member Stevens, can you hear us?
Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to know, how will the revised funding on page 59 support CPFs enabled watches? And on page 65, how will the budget support leave operations? And in page 67, how will the adjustments improve community and school safety initiatives? And then lastly, Chair, will the budget at least support, or will there be something in the budget for mobile stations, especially in the Bloemfontein and in the Scottsville area, seeing that is a question since May already, and with all the violence going on? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those very nicely focused questions. Okay. MEC and HOD, over to you.
Chair, if I may. So coming back to the question about clustering, we've said that Mitchell's Plain is a pilot, and the idea for pilot is to have it in a small, concentrated environment. So the question has been asked, so why not Philippi and Menenberg? Chair, anybody else can ask, so why not Mitchell's Plain and Khayelitsha? Or why not Mitchell's Plain and Delft? Because you can cluster all of those areas with Mitchell's Plain. They're all neighbors. Next to Mitchell's Plain, you get Khayelitsha. Next to Khayelitsha, you get Khayelitsha and you get Philippi. And next to Philippi, you get Gugulethu and Nanga. So the argument about clustering, I understand why the member is pushing for clustering. But please understand that we're trying to have a focused pilot at the community level, because each community's dynamics are different. A community of Menenberg is different to a community of Philippi East, is different to a community of Mitchell's Plain. And the whole idea of the community level safety and development programs is to focus on a specific community, understand the dynamics, and then develop a program for it. And we did not want to complicate this whole program, and we start focusing on that one pilot. But with the lessons learned, we will then move to the other areas. But then there's also the question that asks, so what are you doing in Mfuleni and what are you doing in Kraaifontein? Chair, we can only do as much as we can within the constraints of the budget. And just for Mitchell's Plain now, we're asking for 9 million, which is not sufficient, but we have to start somewhere. So we will get to Mfuleni, and I've indicated now, and the question then once again comes up, so what are you doing in Mfuleni? I've indicated that Mfuleni is our #1 in the country in terms of murder sessions. So I've even indicated that we might have to fast track Mfuleni into the program. Yet I've been asked, what are we going to do about Mfuleni? So Chair, there's no right or wrong answer. What we're saying is we need to focus on Mitchell's Plain, zoom in, understand how we're going to roll out this program, and then start expanding it. And the idea is to then expand it to Philippi, to Khayelitsha, to Nanga, to Delft, and to Menenberg and the other areas. But we need to start somewhere. So asking and saying that we must cluster, I don't think we should be clustering things. And this is the view of what we're having within our department and with our community. And yes, the member might have a different view of saying we need to cluster, but that's the member's view. Our view is we need to focus on one area with a budget and make a difference and see how we can make a difference, take the lessons learned and move forward. As it relates to the CCTV cameras, I'm going to ask either Burford or Gillian to respond to that. And the reason for our rationale for reducing the SRM budget, Burford, if you can just give us that specific response. Member Kasim once again asked why could it not be clustered, Chairperson. As I said, I've tried to explain we need to have a focused pilot so that we can move forward. And then the cameras, are the cameras going up in gang-infested communities? Chairperson, I've just indicated that our cameras are for our provincial government precincts and not in the communities. I have indicated in my inputs saying that those cameras that's in the communities are the City of Cape Town's cameras, not ours. Minister has indicated that he'll provide an inventory of all the cameras and you'll be able to see where the cameras are. But our part of the projects that we'll be running, for example, in Mitchells Plain, we are looking at what cameras does the city have, and what cameras do SAPs have in the community, so that we can see which of them are working, which are not working, and where we need to invest further. But it's not part of this funding that we've now received for the cameras. It's more to secure our precincts, our government precincts and our government buildings. And then the question on how the budget is going to improve LEAP, CPF, school safety areas, and also the mobile. See, we do not have funding for the mobile in Blukenbos. That is not part of the ask that we've in this specific budget. And the member said it's been something that's been asked for quite some time. And I must also acknowledge, Chairperson, this is a standing committee, which is an oversight committee, and I just need to clarify that just because it's been asked in the committee doesn't mean that we now have to build it into our structure. The oversight committee will recommend, and we need to look at it in the context of our department's plan and what we're trying to achieve within the department. And then from there, we'll be implementing and we'll be funding it. So if that community structure comes to us, for example, in the Blukenbos area and say we need a kiosk and it's part of the CPF funding or the neighborhood watch funding, then we'll fund it through that process. But there's processes that we need to follow in dealing with this. As it relates to the CPF and the school safety areas, there's various projects that's underway. So we do fund the CPFs, we do fund the neighborhood watches. We're working closely with the education department. So there's different projects and programs that we're running with other departments and with the neighborhood watches and with the CPFs to improve safety in the environment. So yes, our funding generally, not only within the adjustment, generally we fund our CPFs and the neighborhood watches towards strengthening them. A key part of the Mitchells Plain Safety and Development Program is to upskill and train our safety structures within the Mitchells Plain and community, or the Mitchells Plain precinct. So we have Mitchells Plain, Lentegeur, and Sramfontein. We work with that as a cluster, if we talk about clustering. But that is where we're looking at upskilling. A significant part of it goes to the upskilling of our safety structures, either in safety officer training, first aid training, mediation training. So there's a lot of investment that's going to go into our structures and strengthening those structures. Chairperson, that's it from my side. And the LEAP, I think the LEAP is just the normal funding for the LEAP. We're not increasing the LEAP funding in this case, where we say, because I do think our funding is as per normal within that specific space.
Thank you very much. I just want to remind members that this is the adjustments budget. It's not a fresh budget. So it's money that is reprioritized during the course of the year. Member Kwensu and then Member Cassie.
Yeah, no, Chair. Thanks for allowing me. I'll be failing my duty and I'll not sleep at night if I don't deal with this question. There will be attempts to respond to our questions, but in certain respect, in responding, there are areas where you can see that the response is spiced with some taste of arrogance. The HOD says, this is their view, that's the view of the member. Now, as if members do not have the oversight right to interrogate the fundamental basis of how money will be spent or deployed, and also pose the question as to why is not an idea not considered that where this legal center is going to be deployed cover a bit of more areas. So that response, in my view, is not in the best interest of deepening democracy and of appreciating the oversight, the role of members. I still insist, while the focus program given the rate of violent crime. Mitchell's Plain is a hot area, is a hotspot area, right? And given the convenience of geographic location of the areas I identified, your Kailicha, your Philippi, your Manningberg, why that corridor could not be considered as one cluster of a project, that the project, not for an area, is for the cluster in this instance, right? That's the constructive oversight role one is posing, not what, when, and why only. I will not reduce my oversight role to that, but also forward even what I believe are potential solutions as a response to the problem we're facing, acting HOD. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Member Kasim and then Member Moran.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would like to agree with that the response came with lots of arrogance. And then also the department's view, like he said, is to focus on one area with a budget. So are you saying that you don't have the capacity to do pilots in more than one area? Or are you saying that your team or your department is too small to be split up into different areas in order for more than one area to be focused on at this time of crisis? And then Chairperson, with that being said, I just wanted to get clarity on this. Is it an issue of capacity or those put in place in this oversight not having the understanding of how to deal with more than one area at a time? Because like you're saying, this is our viewpoint. We're only focusing on Mitchell's Plain for this time being. Like I said, during a time of crisis, other kids are being killed in other areas as well. Thank you, Chairperson.
And Minister Moran, do you want to come in here?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will comment at the end. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Member Kaiser Philander.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my hand is raised on a point of order. I didn't want to break the member's speech, but I can definitely say this is not the stance of the committee in terms of the comments made, especially by Member Benson and concurred by the Member Kasim, in terms of the HOD coming across in that manner. And I think, Chairperson, as you've rightfully mentioned, that we should concentrate on the business as to what we are currently doing. But definitely it cannot be that we portray a senior official as being arrogant and that we respect the way in which we engage each other. Because as much as we want to be respected, we should portray the very same to our colleagues across the table as well, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Let's keep this civil and professional, and we don't do personal attacks. Obviously, there are going to be different opinions, but the adjustment budget is saying, and I think people need to interrogate what it is, and then when the sphere comes for political comment, obviously parties will be making the statements that they need to make. But let's ensure that this engagement remains civil. Now, I don't have any hands for the final round. Do I have anyone who wants to put their hand up, and then we'll hand over to the officials. Member Michaels. And then I've got Member Benson. Member Michaels, please go ahead. I see you taking your hand down. Okay. Member Gwensu.
Thank you very much, Chair. I must make the point that an intellectual engagement, in fact, an intellectual engagement can be arbitrated as an insult to anybody undermining any person. The HOD responded, and I retaliated.
Okay, we're moving on from this.
And the basis
I'm going to rules out of order. No, ma'am, I'm going to rules out of order. We're not going to go on the personal attacks. If you've got a question on the budget, please ask it. Otherwise, I'm going to move on.
You can move on, Chair.
Thank you very much. Member, HOD, please go ahead.
Sorry, Chair. I found the question on my book. It was an area. It's an issue, by the way. The HOD, I think, it started with the issue of the relocation from the current building. But I could not get him as to when were you being aware about the state of the building and the need for relocation? And in terms, what would be the financial implications in terms of the rate of rent where you currently are and where you're moving to? Are there any other buildings which you explored in the course of looking for an alternative venue? I mean, an accommodation. Thank you very much. For Member Fernandez, don't become a shop steward.
No. We're not going to have that in this meeting.
Prepare for a meeting and raise
That's
issues.
enough. No, I will mute you if you continue with it. Okay, right. HOD.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, I first need to respond to Member Kasim's question in terms of whether we do not have the capacity. Member Kasim, that is the exact reason why we are focusing on one specific area. We are a very small department and we need to roll out this program. But we also need to understand it's a multi-stakeholder program. It requires a lot of resources, both internally within our department and within other departments. And then we're working with the different communities, and within our collaboration agreement, we're working with the city and the South African Police Services. So quite a broad range of stakeholders that we're busy with and that we're working, and we're trying to find our feet and understanding how does this thing work and how is it going to play out. So we wanted to keep it focused. We wanted to make sure that we understand how all of these things will fit into one another, and then we will start rolling it out. And I have indicated, and I think even our minister indicated, that we will be rolling it out to all of the other areas, but we just need to start small and bed this down. So your direct question to me in terms of whether it's a capacity issue, I can respond to you directly and say, yes, that is a capacity issue, but also the whole uncertainty of how we take a project like this forward. You just need to bed it down in a, I won't say a controlled environment, but in an environment where we know we have focus, and then we can move from there. Chairperson, the question on the move, when did we become aware of the issues? We've been raising the issues with the landlord for quite some time in terms of the non-compliance with the occupational health and safety issues. It's been an ongoing thing for quite a few years, and that's why we could never move towards the formal or towards permanently moving into this building or concluding a long-term lease. That is a big challenge. That was a big challenge for us, and we now need to move. As it relates to the financial requirements or the financial implications, I will provide that to the member, and then we'll forward that to the member in terms of the financial implications, in terms of what it costs for this building and what it will cost for the other building, and what's the difference between it. And it's a fair question, Chairperson, and we will provide that information. I think I've covered the comments, Chairperson, and just, yeah, that's about it from my side.
Thank you very much. I just want to see if there are any questions from anyone who has not yet asked a question. Anybody want to ask anything? Otherwise, I'm going to, remember, Moinsu, you've asked the most questions. I just want to see if there's anybody else first.
I'm covered, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Boysons. Okay. Member Moinsu, we've got the final question that you want to ask, and that will be it, and we'll move on. Not, okay. I'm going to just ask the presiding officer, do we have any members of the public who are going to want to make any comment?
Good morning, Chair. Sorry, Member. Through you, Chair, there have been no indications of members of the public wanting to make submissions.
Thank you very much. Okay, Member Moinsu, final question from you, and then I'm going to ask for closing statements from the department.
Once again, the follow-up. I did not get the response on the question of the Commission of Employees, and also in particular, given the state of the Provincial Police Ombudsman in capacity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Over to the department for that.
Chairperson, I think I have given, that was part of the member's first question on the compensation of employees, which I'm sure I've covered, where I said that it's definitely not, because the member made the point that it's less important, and indicated that it's definitely not less important. And I've also indicated why there was a reduction. And I think I've referred to the HOD's post that's not been filled and some of the other senior managers' posts, and that we are giving priority attention to it. I've also indicated that we need more people within the department. I've even indicated in terms of the hard skills that we require. And what I've perhaps omitted is that we've advertised 2 of our chief directors' posts now recently, and we will be continuing with 3 SMS posts, and we'll be continuing on that trajectory to start filling the posts within the department, especially at strategic level. As it relates to the Ombudsman, I will give General Reddy an opportunity to respond to the Ombudsman's posts and what are the priorities in that space. General?
Thank you, Honourable Chair and honourable members. We have 2 posts that are currently in the process of being filled. One of them is my PA and the other is an admin officer. They're at the advanced stage of filling in. They were advertised, etc. The other critical post that we still need to look at is one for a CFO, which is actually our case flow officer. And we're looking at 2 investigators, permanent, and 2 on contract. So the submission is being prepared for review at POX. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, it is now 10:35. I'm going to ask the department, the MEC and the HOD if there are any closing statements, and then we can move on to the next section of the meeting.
Chairperson, I'll allow Minister to have the last word, so I'll go first before Minister close the session on our behalf. Just to say thank you to the members for the questions, Chairperson, and for challenging us on the way that we're doing it and advising us in the way that in what we're doing and executing the oversight role. Thanks so much. And I know that we won't always have an agreement on the things that are being put on the table, but that is what these sessions are about, Chairperson, to discuss and debate these issues, and also to make sure that we all work together towards improving the safety of our citizens. So thanks so much for the inputs and the comments of the committee members. And then to the police oversight and community members, community safety team, Chairperson, thanks so much for all their hard work. And then also specifically the CFO team who's prepared our documentation for today. And then also the Ombudsman team. Thanks, General Reddy, to you and Kim and the team on that side. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. MEC, any closing comments?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to agree with our acting HOD, and also want to thank him for being so long with us all the time. And we will still have him next year for a few months before we appoint a new HOD, but we can discuss that at the other standing committee meeting. I just want to say we value your oversight and the recommendations you made, and thank you also for being so thorough in your oversight. We're here to serve our people, and that is what we want to do to in the end have a resilient Western Cape and a safe Western Cape. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I can assure you that we will be scheduling a hearing on the Mitchells Plain pilots in the, I don't want to say the very near future, because then I think half the committee will stand up in rebellion against me, but certainly in the first beginning of next year, we'll have a hearing on that. And I think we're looking forward to hearing more about that. Thank you very much. And at this particular point, I want to say that thank you for all that you do and everything that you've done during the course of the year. I know it's been difficult, particularly with our murder rate that really is completely off the scales. But to thank everyone, to thank the Minister, to thank the HOD, the Ombudsman, I'm still trying not to say Ombudsperson, and the department and the entities, we really do appreciate the work. And if we can take the opportunity now to wish you a very happy and peaceful festive season, and I hope that things go as well as we can hope in the city of ours. I think that even though we disagree, we are all trying to move in the same direction. And I really do wish you all a a good festive season. Thank you very much. And the department is now excused and the committee will now deliberate. I'll just give you a couple of minutes to exit and then we'll proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for those questions. I mean, that's what we're here to do. Like I say, I know we don't always agree, but I think it's important that we keep moving forward. We're now moving on to agenda item number 3, which is consideration and adoption of a draft committee report on vote 4, police oversight and community safety in the schedule to the Western Cape adjustments appropriation. So we need to decide whether we support or do not support it. And those who do not support it, this is also your opportunity to speak up and to tell us that. I have got Member Kaiser Philander.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chair, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I wish to express my support for the vote. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Have I got somebody who wants to second that? Member Boyson?
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm seconding Member Kaiser Philander. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I just want to check if there are any other views. Is there anybody who is not supporting it? Member Quincy?
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you.
On behalf of the African National Congress, I would like to register a minority view.
Certainly, in terms of Standing Rule 90. Member Cassim?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on. I don't want to cut you off. Member Cassim?
Thank you, Chairperson. Also, just for registering purposes, the EFF is not in support. Thank you.
Thank you. And Member Stevens? Member Stevens? Need to unmute.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the Patriotic Alliance, Chair, we're also not in support of the budget.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I have got the support from the DA and the non-support in terms of Standing Rule 90 from the ANC, the EFF, and the PA. Mr. Matthews, if you could please go ahead and there we go. Flight list. Is this now? I'm going to read it into the record. Report of a Standing Committee on Police Oversight, Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport on vote 4, Police Oversight and Community Safety in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill dated 8 December 2025 as follows. The Standing Committee on Police Oversight, Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport, having considered the subject of vote 4, Police Oversight and Community Safety in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, referred to it in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. In accordance with Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress, the Economic Freedom Fighters, and the Patriotic Alliance expressed their minority view not to support the vote. Could I please have somebody to move the committee report? Member Kaiser Philander?
I move for the adoption of the report, Chair.
Thank you. Member Johnson?
I second the proposal made by Member Kaiser Philander, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Shall we thus adopt the report? Okay, item number 7. There is no further business. So I'm just going to say thank you to everybody for attending this meeting. It's good that we've moved on through it. I know we will see each other later in the week. So I'm not going to say happy festive season now. I'll say it to your faces when we see you all on Thursday and Friday. But thank you very much. And unless anybody's got something they wish to raise, that is the meeting.
I propose closure before Member Philander retaliates once again.
Member Philander, Member Nguyensu who wants to close before you go after him. Is that in order with everybody?
That's the first thing I've agreed with Member Benson today. So thank you, Member.
Well, then let's end up in agreement that we can close. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.